Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. Brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report, coming to you the true opening day, or part 3, whatever you want. But it is July 10th, alongside Seth, Merrow. I am Anthony Mormino. There's no Schuylerville today, but this is the opening day of the 40-day Saratoga 2025 meet.
Yeah, and as everybody says, traditional Saratoga. That's been the word over the last few days. And, we're kicking into the 40 days, the traditional 40 days, as it were. The
traditional one might be July 30th.
Tradition, as it were, yeah. But another gorgeous day up here. So once again, if you're headed up for opening day, you picked a nice day, nice card. And, the weather is gorgeous. You can see the horses enjoying working out behind us, and it's a good one to kick things off.
I mean, it's it's just become the norm. Like I said, it's just, I have to tell myself the far more non-24-day meets that I have attended. I mean, it's getting close to 3 times as many, well, not 2 times as many, at least 30-day meets as the old days. But, you get stuck in your memories being 28 years old, and you think that's the norm. But this is the norm. Labor Day is what? Early this year, earliest possible day, September 1. So, they kind of worked backward from that date to get opening day. And so here we are on July 10th. Schedule has been, changed up a little bit. We ran the Schuylerville and Sanford last week. So
it seems a little sacrilegious that they weren't in traditional Saratoga, Schuylerville and Sanford. But I said last week they were in the Wilton down in New York a couple of weeks ago. That doesn't seem right either.
Well, I think I mentioned it the other day that one at Kelso's Whitney's was one at Belmont Park. So things do change up, but it's you got to think it's going to be a wonderful day today. The temperature seems very enjoyable for the summer. I mean, if I wasn't wearing a jacket, it might be almost a perfect day out there. So we'll see. Plenty of going on at the network. Obviously, this is the highlight time of the year in the Capital District. But to show you how it's changed, I was listening to just 2 casual people, and they're just like, this was Tuesday night. They're like, well, track opens in a couple weeks. I go, boy, I'm going to be late then. They're like, what do you mean? I go, it starts in 48 hours. They were like, really? I was like, yes. It's July 10th. This is, in this frame, this is the earliest possible date. It seems like we just celebrated July 4th, and here we are.
Yeah, no question about it. You mentioned things coming up.
Yes.
Coming up, top of the hour, Racing Across America. Tom Amello will come in. He has some horses to watch and some thoughts on some of the action from last weekend. Same scenario, actually, with Dave Grenick from the Daily Racing Forum. He'll come in and we'll do a little review and preview, take a look at and have some conversation about last weekend. And then also maybe look at some of the stakes action coming up here. And then we'll also be joined by OTB President John Signor, who come in and kind of kick off the traditional meet here at Capital OTB. That all comes up at 10 o'clock. And let me remind you, coming up otherwise, today here at the, today down at the Clubhouse Racebook, it's a play the board contest. So keep that in mind if you'd like to stop by the Racebook for your action this afternoon. $100 play the board contest for a little extra fun. There will also be a play of the day. And entries have closed. Congratulations to everybody who made the team. You already have a nice $1,000 plus in the kitty after the first 4 days. So that's a great start, certainly. And we will continue every day during the meet with the play of the day. I will also have the pick 3 bankroll on Sundays during the meet. I think it's every other Sunday. When you go to the website, it gives the exact dates, but it starts this Sunday. So a little bit later today, entries will open for that. We'll always open the entries the Thursday prior to the Sunday of the bankrolls. Last year they did okay, so we made everybody a little money. It's a new team, new bankroll, new team every Sunday. So keep that in mind. If you sign up and get on the team this Sunday, it's a brand new team next time we do it. So keep in mind you have to enter for each and every bankroll separately, but entries will open for this Sunday's Pick 3 bankroll just a little bit later on today. Tomorrow there's a player's bankroll down at the Clubhouse Racebook where you get to make the plays on the bankroll team. Saturday, Fan Appreciation Day at the Bridgeport OTB. So if you're a patron out in that direction, we'd love to have you stop by so we can say thank you to you for your patronage. Also, Saturday, Bounty Bet returns. Don't forget, new day. Traditionally, it's been Friday, but now we're doing Saturdays during the Saratoga meet. Bounty Bet returns on Saturday, and the King of the Hill contest down at the Clubhouse Racebook as well, coming up on Saturday, 711 Central Avenue in Albany.
Is the low roller still around?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up because there are
That's
whispers.
a Sunday thing, right?
There are whispers that it's coming back this year. I think it'll be a little bit later on, potentially. And I don't know whether it's absolutely a done deal. But, well, they changed the tote system last year, and so it wasn't going to work out. We'll keep our fingers crossed. It was actually when the last iteration of 2 days. I don't know, it was Thursday and Sunday, Wednesday and Sunday. But yeah, I got my fingers crossed. I'm big on low rollers.
Yes, very, very.
But we will keep you up to date on that because I know there are a lot of folks who enjoyed the low rollers.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, anything to grow the population of bettors.
They do the high rollers on Saturday over there. That's
what's the high rollers, like $300 buy?
Yeah,
or something?
so I think it is $300, and there's usually a Friday contest that's maybe $40. I'm not sure. It's less.
Okay.
It's $30-$40. You get in, you can qualify for the Saturday, or you can buy in on Saturday itself. But
I've done some research. I would only be vested in the pick and pray. I think there's too much.
Really?
There's too much.
Because the way you play those tries, the live money Saturday contest, you get one of those, you're probably in good shape.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like, I don't like the idea of being able to jump in the pond late with an opinion you don't really have.
That and there are pluses and minuses to all the contests, but that is, I have always said those live money contests, because I played one a few years ago where I hit early and I was sitting top 10. This was their big contest over there. I'm sitting top 10 virtually all day. And then, the last couple of races, boom, people are just pushing all in with it. And my rule change would be certainly the last race, maybe even the last 2 or 3, you can't make a bet bigger than you've made earlier in the day. So if your biggest bet early in the day is $100 or $200, you can't all of a sudden in the last race push in $2,000.
Well, I watched the Breeders' Cup betting challenge one. It's like whomever gets the classic right, it's like just hold on and just, the top 9 are going to be those who got the classic winner correctly. There's only 10 horses, so if there's 3,000 people in it, 300 people are getting the last winner, basically, at least. So there you have that. But beautiful day. Come on up, as I said. Always special opening day. It'd be fun in town. You ready?
I am.
Kick this off. The opener, as they have done for almost a generation now, starting in front of the fans. Of course, I'd like to see a 10 furlong starter allowance, so they start up in the grandstand at the 8th pole for the folks to get underway. But start in front of the fans, we're going to have state breds, fillies, entry-level allowance, 9 furlongs on the dirt.
7, 5, 4, and 2. I'm going to put Grace Reformed on top. Goes out for Marshall Graham. His 10 strike racing and comes in off a good try last time in a similar race downstate. Just seems to be rounding perhaps into good form. Chris Elliott on board. I've said it a couple of times. So I'm going to be interested to see what the apprentice can do up here this summer. Apprentice jockeys at this meet, a little bit of a mixed bag, but I think there aren't many of them. So you get your chances with some trainers who would like a little weight allowance. And Elliott has certainly been moving around to various tracks on dark days and whatnot, making the most of that 5 pounds. So again, I'm interested to see what he can do. He was on board last time, so Grace reformed on top. Sweet anniversary in the second spot. One try at Saratoga, that was last August. It was not much of an effort, but it seems like a little bit of an outlier, so I'm willing to kind of forgive that. Comes in off a couple of tries at the Finger Lakes most recently, and trained by Anthony Ferraro, one of the top trainers out there. It seems like over the past couple of years, Finger Lake shippers have had a little more punch coming to Saratoga than maybe in years gone by, as it were. Rodeo Star in the third spot off the claim. This, to me, is a tough claim. I love the other way. I love horses coming out of state-bred allowance races, going into open claimers. Going in the reverse is a little bit tougher, but this horse does seem to be in decent form, and the trainer's pretty good off the claim. So opener for me, 7, 5, 4, and 2.
I think this is a fantastic opener, Seth, because I have everybody live in the race. What more could you ask for? And if that's the case, I mean, my rule of thumb, almost bordering Seth on cardinal rule, is if I think 7 horses are live, I'm putting Grace Reform somewhere else on top. And, this is kind of a classic example of how Seth and I make our selections differently for you folks. And I am 2, 3, 7. I'm down inside coming out of the same race as Grace Reformed. I think I get an edge being inside. I have Flavian Pratt on board. I'll take that edge also. So I have Akara Ira on top. For second, Chasing Daylight, who I just thought, we're guessing over here. We've had 4 days off. Did you have any weather up here?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. One of my big things, especially since we've gone to the multiple days off, is especially if there's weather in between it. But Seth says no. I live in the Capital District. Seth lives up in Saratoga County. So I just thought speed inside might be something I want to start off the meet with, and then Chasing Reformed, as Seth said, good effort downstate at this level. So 2, 3, 7 for me.
I have a brother-in-law named Ira, and I texted my sister, and he did yesterday. Said, I got a little hunch bet for you, maybe on opening day. But I said, I don't know what it means. Do you know what? Is there a meaning? Ira, Asa?
No, not me.
I don't.
That doesn't.
I mean, it seems like
there's
something there, but I don't know. I thought maybe that was the thing. Maybe something.
And the one thing I think, just so our fans out here, we realize we get a bigger audience, and we're grateful for that. Is this? I think the apprentice thing is after your 50th win, you get 365 days at the 5 pounds.
Yeah.
You start at 10, then there's 7.
That's like 5 wins.
5 wins.
10, and then you're at 7 for a while, and then.
So
you get
50 wins. The clock starts ticking,
and that's why I say he's bouncing around trying to make the most of it.
Absolutely,
you definitely want to grab it while you can, because some trainers and some handicappers appreciate that 5 pounds. Second race this afternoon, optional claimer, starter allowance, 5.5 on the grass.
Well, the race goes through the 7 in here, and I'm 3, 7, 5, and with Billionaires Road. Intriguing to me, Seth. They're adding blinkers here, and in the race down at Pimlico, for about 3 strides, this horse was in front. And the reason I bring this up is, boy, Bourbon Boss, who was even money. But once the 3 strides were over, this guy was just like, he got the rocket boost at about the 4th stride out of the gate. But Billionaires Row has some giddy up out of the gate, and they're adding blinkers today. I'm all in on a double-digit odds with John Velasquez aboard for Mike Trambetta. So number 3, Billionaires Row, my top pick. On the outside of the turf race is number 7, Devil in Disguise, as Seth has the 7-7 opening day daily double going. Big effort at Keeneland. Comes in here for a tag for the first time, and for third, number 5. So 3, 7, 5 in the second.
Yeah, I couldn't get past the 7 with the numbers. And some people say, and I don't blame them. The numbers on the turf aren't as reliable, but on the 281s, which clearly have an edge on this bunch, I tilted there. Moves in for the tag today. So the George Weaver horse with Flavian Pratt on board looks live, certainly. But I don't think invincible by any means. My life story, the number 1 horse, Mike Maker, Irad Ortiz. Decent try last time, running third with an improved number, going to 2 and 3 starts back. So maybe rounding into some form now. And Carango in the third spot. Also put in a decent effort last time in the second start of the season. So third start back, that can sometimes be fruitful. So for me, in the second, kicking off an early pick for 7, 1, 5, and 6.
Now I have a question. You win on debut, impressively on synthetic. You run very well at Keeneland allowance, which I think day in and day out handicappers will say that's a pretty tough meet. Those allowance races are tough,
and you pay $400,000.
Right. And you run very well. You just get beat in the photo at Keeneland, a 1X after trying stakes.
Yeah,
boy, I'll tell you, for me, at odds on in the morning line, and as you have taught me, the power of the buyer speed figure, because this guy towers over the
starts
field
and stops in the career.
I'm
how
right
do you
there.
end
Like
up
I say,
here? This is not invincible. But
one
thing I will say, up here at Saratoga, some of those rules become a little more fuzzy. Folks really like wins up here. But yeah, you pay $400,000 and the horse looks to have some talent.
Off an 11-month layoff, you run great.
Yeah.
That's just, that to me, listen, we had a couple years ago, Brad Cox was dropping horses to the bottom, won like 3 in a row. I mean, I think it's a predicament for the bettors, a legitimate one. It's like, you're taking your chances. Now, here's a question. What do you think the odds are they get claimed for 50? I think it's
pretty good.
Pretty good, I think. Pretty good. So we'll see. On to the third. We're going to be at the so far very popular 6.5 furlong distance this summer. 3-year-olds up, fillies in for 17.5, non-winners at 3 life.
5, 6, 7, and 3. We'll put the 5 on top. My 2 Sophias. This is another one that has a very questionable class drop. This is a precipitous drop, but comes in off a series of numbers that, again, seem to have a edge on this bunch. Not a huge edge, but seems to consistently toss in numbers that are better than most of these. But again, we're going from 2 back tried stakes company and dropping down to 17.5, which is on the low end in New York certainly. So I'm concerned, but if the horse runs his race that he typically does, I think she typically does, I think fits nicely. Dashing Della in the second spot. I think getting back to the dirt will be beneficial. The dirt try 2 and 3 back. Those were better than that turf try last time, obviously. So back to the dirt with a class move. And Bam's Bliss Kiss, another one taking a questionable class drop, but another one going turf to dirt. Some back numbers that are pretty good. Interesting race. When you have these kind of droppers, as we just discussed, it's tough to know what to make. They win by a city block or they could lose by a city block. But third for me, 5, 6, 7, and 3.
I'm 6, 4, 5 in here. I didn't, race 1 was wide open. Race 2, the favorite at a short price. Here, he's dropping down to 17.5. That's my question mark there. So I have Dashing Della on top. I mean, coming out of, for those who believe teletimers, 107 flat for 6 furlongs. I guess the Breeders' Cup turf sprint is up next, but we got whooped there. But Dashing Della, to me, this is a reasonable spot. You look at this runner with some conditioned races at about this price tag has been competitive. I got outside speed. We'll see. For second, Harlan's Bond. This was a claim at this level, has good early speed. Went a mile most recently, shortens up to 6.5. And then taking blinkers off after, 2 efforts, my 2 Sophias. But hard for me to put that runner on top with the question dropping down all the way to 17.5. 6, 4, 5 in the third.
All right, we'll head to our first break. When we return, more from Saratoga's opening day. Stay tuned.
His family have continued the 103-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 103 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Welcome back to Handicappers Report, opening day. Seth,
I didn't know if you're confused where we're located, or you have to give Seth the benefit of the doubt. He has 15 shows a day here. I didn't know if you're confused geography or the TV guide listing.
I almost said racing across America, I have to admit.
What do we have the over-under for the meet? 4.5?
I have to think about where I'd go there.
That's what. When you set a good number, that's good. You make the people think.
Before the break, you saw the play of the day from Steve Bick. If you guys flash that up again, we'll just give folks another shot to take a look at the DePaula play of the day from Steve Bick. And again, for folks who are on the team, congratulations for getting on the team. And today, Steve, taking
You've already won
in race number 8.
You're on the team. You can only win.
Yeah.
So we don't send a bill to your house. You can only win.
That's correct. Ozawa in the 8th. So good luck to everybody on the team this afternoon. All right, let's jump in again. Race number 4 today, $40,000 claimers. They will travel 3/4 of a mile.
It's going to be a very intriguing day. There's some short price favorites here, in my opinion, 5, 6, 7 in here. Always Angels gets my top pick. They take blinkers off. You go back to this is intriguing to me. Wayne Potts takes over the training. I don't know. This horse's efforts with the blinkers were good with speed. I kind of like speed day in and day out. We're going 6 here, some sharp speed. Well, maybe the idea is we'll keep the sharp speed, but we'll relax without the blinkers. And I'll take that. Victor Espinoza, Hall of Famer, right? He's in the Hall.
Yes.
Right? Very recent induction, last couple of years. He has the mount here. We're at 8-1 on the morning line.
We'll be riding here regularly.
Yes.
It should be interesting.
Yes,
There's a nice article in the Forum about that.
And then I have Olga for a second. Comes off back-to-back victories. Now, that more recent victory was May 3rd. Was that Derby Day? Was it May 3rd this year? I think it was. So
Derby weekend.
Derby weekend. Think about how far back that is. Shipping up from Gulfstream Park for the Saratoga debut. Receives the services of Flavia Pratt. And for third, all class, 8-5, Linda Rice, owner, trainer. I see that a couple times in the first 3 days of runners. We're on the outside here. Hasn't displayed speed since last autumn, but 5, 6, 7 in the 4th.
Victor Espinoza, the article said he came here for a vacation last month, maybe. Kind of was on the backside and was meeting with some trainers and said, boy, there's a lot of more outfits that you can get plugged into here than out in Southern California. So,
and if I saw social media, Jose Santos Jr.?
That sounds right. Yeah. We'll get him plugged in again this year. He and his whole. He is, Wayne Lucas changed the way trainers kind of had satellite outfits around the country, and Jose Santos has changed the way jockey agents have riders across the country, but we've had him in a couple of times before. I saw him a couple of times on the front side and said, we'll get you plugged in. So, but for me, 7, 1, 4, and 6. Number 7 is All Class for Linda Rice. This is a class move that I think is in printing. Turf to dirt, and a class move that for me is not one that I'm overly concerned about, because they claimed this horse for $62,500 and have since put some money in the bank. So this to me is you're shopping for a competitive spot. And so All Class on top. Second spot, again, it's 10 Strike Racing of Marshall Graham, Majestic Return, with a lot of early speed from the rail. Another one making pretty much the same move as the top pick. But again, I'm not that concerned in here. They have some money in the bank, and again, just seem to be shopping for a competitive place. And Proud Foot, the number 4 in the third spot, Irod Ortiz on board, off a couple of efforts that aren't that inspiring, except they, like the top 2 picks, were against a little bit better. And I think at this level is probably a little more competitive in here. Also, Irod Ortiz, who was on board last time, sticks. So you got to appreciate that. 4th today at Saratoga, 7, 1, 4, and 6.
On to the 5th race. We have split divisions, and with that, they just picked the names blindly out of a hat, right? It's one of the most democratic, right? They just put all the entries in. Well, how you couldn't
make it more competitive? Yeah, I guess
you
you're
can't
right.
do that.
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
There's got to be a blind,
blind
draw. And
I was thinking, I wonder if they try to keep it competitive, but you're right. That would not.
No,
fair.
that would be. Yeah, and I think. And we don't have very many split divisions of stakes races anymore.
No,
so
it used to be a thing. I saw somebody on Twitter the other day said, how can there be 2 Della Roses? And everybody's like, oh, you're a youngster.
Yes. I'll give you one that happened for a long time. It was a given in Southern California on opening day.
Oceanside.
The Oceanside. One year, it was a 3-way. It was a 3-way split division of the Oceanside. And I've said this for years. Because of the conditions, the Della Rose cannot receive graded status. But it is a graded stakes race. I mean, there have been some doozy of additions, and we have 2 of them today with the split division.
And you say the conditions, there's a restricted condition.
Yeah, they want to, you can't have one, you could not have won a sweepstakes the last 2 years. And I think that has almost always been the condition of it. So basically when they run this time of year, it's basically saying 18 months. You can't have won a graded stakes race. We get split divisions today, going a mile on the inner, and what I'm guessing that the rails will be up on the inner, and I have no idea on the outer. And I'll just make this quick thing. I despise this so much. I know nobody cares besides maybe nobody but me, but they're scheduled to run the Diana, the grade 1 Diana, on the inner, which I think is less fair than the main, and the rails will be up. So the teletimer, I'm like, it's a grade 1. In my opinion, the rails should be down and should be on the Mellon turf course. That's just an opinion. The Della Rose, 2 terrific additions today.
3, 8, 5, and 4. I'll put the Cherie DeVoe runner on top. Relatively lightly raced, 6 starts so far for this 4-year-old, but 2 wins in 3 seconds. So 5 times in the exacta and 6 starts. The only time out of the exacta was last time in the Mint Julep down at Churchill. Number-wise, it was still an okay race, but to me, I'm going to look for a rebound to a better effort. The seasonal debut was very good. 3rd start back, bullet workout coming in. I'm going to put Deep Satin on top, but I think if we get the 7-2 morning line, that's very fair. In our time in the 2nd spot, Safi Joseph runner. The race 2 back for this one was very good. Followed up in a stakes race, both down at Gulfstream last time, and tossed in a little bit of a dud as a favorite. So kind of a similar thought to the top pick. I think that last race, which, again, number-wise was still okay, but finishing position-wise, not so much. But I could see a rebound to a better effort, a better finishing position today. And then Edict in the 3rd spot. My top 2, 7-2 and 4-1, they're right in the same ballpark. 8-1 on Edict. I would not sleep on the Dave Donk runner. I think this horse with a little bit of early punch. John Velasquez on board, 3rd start of the season. I think this one is absolutely live in with this bunch, and I think we will hold up at a decent price. So for me in the 5th, first division of Della Rose, 3, 8, 5, and 4.
Well, good luck kicking off the pick six here, folks. I'm 8-1-4, and the one thought I was thinking that maybe Luis Saez can sit a very attractive trip if he can get over a little bit and sit off Command, etc. I think Deep Satin will be behind me, and just maybe, can get, the right trip, sitting like second early on here and be good enough. But I'm anticipating receiving better than 4-1 here with the outside post. In Our Time is on the outside of the turf runners here, and being in post position 8 going a mile on the inner, it's no day at the beach. Alluring Angel moves into the Bill Mott barn, hasn't run since September. Said it many times before. Whenever the old days were, Seth, this would have been a toss in the old days. The old give them a race or two, but that's not the way the game is played now. So maybe it'll have pace to run at. We'll get a big price with this powerful combination. And then Grand Motion sends out the 4, second time United States, second race since October of 2023. Edicts live, Deep Satin's live. I mean, it's a terrific race. Yeah. I mean, good luck getting through it. I said I'd love to be sitting down with, pick six players. How you gonna, start it off? What's your you want to be live? How many deep you going?
And then you get to this race.
Wow, this race is...
sixth race, maiden specials. These are 2-year-old fillies going 5.5 on the grass. This is, again, one of those that you get up here that I think we'll get a couple out of this that'll turn out to be okay. At least a couple out of this that I think will turn out to be okay. There's some nice connections and breeding in here. What did you see in race number 6?
Well, I mean, it's guessing the 11, 12, 13, 1A are also eligible. 14 is an MTO. We have 6 of the 10 covered here, folks. I think nothing more needs to be said. I'm guessing no one called me. So I took the 7-1-2. Gracie's Delight, unless there's a live wire here, I have 2 races under my belt, and I think they're both good. Switching over to the turf, American Pharaoh, Triple Crown winner, and Scat Daddy on the bottom side, who produced a Triple Crown winner. But I like their turf influences as stallion. Justify, who is a very versatile stallion, a son of Scat Daddy, who, his, what did he maybe have 5 or 6 crops? Didn't have too many. I think he died. He was 11, I think. So I don't think he had too many. But Gracie's Delight has an edge, and I don't think we're going to get hammered at the window with that edge. Hot list schedule, the number 1 horse scheduled to break from the outside, the number 10 post position. You have Dubawi and Kingman as the grand sires. And for third, breaking from the hedge, keto drink. Is that the
I think it's keto, right?
Is it keto?
The keto
is that
diet?
Like a diet thing?
I think it's
Keto diet. Okay. And my idea, I developed, a couple works back, very sharp for Shug 7-1-2.
And yours, I looked up the breeding and whatnot. Keto Drink has some nice win early siblings. I looked at Hot List a little bit. It's an interesting race. And your top pick, there's a full sibling called Ultima Grace that won the career debut. This one didn't live up to that in the first 2, but I agree. They're 2 decent efforts.
Yes.
But I went with Sadie Earp. I have it 5, 6, 11, and 7. If the 11 doesn't get in, the 4. But this is my dark horse play of the day, brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga, both in downtown Saratoga. Stop by and say hello. But Sadie Earp, the number 5, 8-1 on the morning line. Tis the Law this year, 22 first-time starters, 6 wins, 2 seconds, a third. Those are pretty solid numbers. The Dam herself won her first 2. There's a sibling called Off We Go, second in debut, won the second start. Another sibling, Classical Cat, 1 starts 1 and 3. Straight Cash, another sibling, won the career debut. So I thought nature and nurture, as I like to say. There's nature breeding top and bottom to win early. Nurture, Wesley Ward can certainly get a 2-year-old to win a turf sprint. So at 8-1, I'm going to make my dark horse play of the day today in race number 6, number 5, Sadie Earp. So good luck there. Second one, Aporia, first-time starter from Miguel Clement. Sibling Churchtown won the debut. Another sibling in One More Time. 1 starts 2 and 3. Simply in Front. Another sibling second, first. Honor the lady, another sibling, second, first, third, first. So there's plenty of win early here. Similar scenario to the top pick. Aporia looks live. Third spot, if Delightful Darling sneaks in off the AE list, beaten favorite, just caught in the debut down at Churchill. Sibling called Minister Strike won the first two. Darling, another sibling, won the debut. I think Delightful Darling, very dangerous. Again, if we get a scratch in the body and that one gets in, take a look. So in the 6 for me, 5, 6, 11, and 7. And again, if the 11 doesn't get in, take a look at the 4.
All right, take a quick break. When we come back, the late pick 4.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
You like free money? Well, Capital OTB gives its players plenty of opportunities to cash in. At Capital OTB, there are so many ways for horse players to receive bonus dollars by simply participating in promotions such as our bankrolls, bounty bets, online handicapping contests, and much, much more. Plus, with Capital OTB's player rewards program, you get actual cash back. So what are you waiting for? Log on today at CapitalOTB.com or CapitalOTBBet.com and claim your free money.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops, my bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course on opening day, and it is a very, very nice morning.
And I will say, we have a replacement monitor. We are looking good. I'm feeling good about the picture now, right, because that old monitor, I could not decide what the situation is. But on this monitor, we're looking good today. I'm feeling good about
That's
it.
That's got a 50-50 chance being a Steve Bick.
I would think, yeah, I would think.
Salmon and medium blue stripe is way outside your lane. Way outside your lane. And I got to tell a story now. You want to tell a story? I'll tell it. It's better for me because you're the recipient. So I don't know if it happens every year, but near the end of their Loose on the Lead series, which you can see on the network every Sunday at 10 o'clock, Steve Bick joins Seth for an hour. Near the end of the meet, Steve, who is what is the term? Sartorial splendor.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that Steve is a sharp dresser, and he goes through ties like I go through cans of Pepsis. So he brings about 24. It's a large collection of his hand-me-downs to Seth. Seth is not nearly as invested in his wardrobe as Seth and I, as Steve and I. So he gives them ties. Now, Seth is like your 1970s insurance guy that comes to your house and makes you very, very, very conservative dresser.
The blue button down, the khakis.
Might make George Bush the father look like a clothes horse. But Seth is so. Steve comes to ties, and I play a little guessing game. Which ones are Seth's and which ones are Seth's gifted? And this is a salmon.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't get that. Like there was a Paisley one the other day. I probably wouldn't have. Yeah. But this one I could. But I'm pretty sure
that was close. That's why if you heard me, sometimes I'm willing to bet a lot. But that was close. But
I was at the clubhouse yesterday, the Racebook clubhouse, and
you might even have worn this one, right? Would this be so-so chance?
Oh yeah,
yeah, I thought so. This was.
But a patron walked up to me and said, "Man, I've been meaning to ask you this for a while." He said, I'm retired now, and I used to be a suit and coat tie guy
size?
every day. And he's like, I have a slew
It's
of really
becoming a
nice,
thing.
nice ties. But I'm not sure he knew, because they said, oh, it's funny, on Sundays, my co-host, will give me his old tie. And he said, oh, good, I feel better about asking you now.
Yeah.
So he may just...
and I call it boxer ties because one year, I think specifically, he had them in a box. He had them rolled up like detail.
Bag of ties, box of ties.
On to the 7th. 2-year-olds and up, fillies and mares, maiden special weights, once around the oval, mile and an eighth.
Yeah, that makes me sound like a real sad sack, doesn't it?
I was thinking that wasn't like, what exactly are you saying?
I have a 2, 3, 5, and 7 endorse on top. I will say, I liked Resurge in the career debut. Resurge, the number 6 horse, siblings Tacitus and Scylla for Bill Mott, and stumbled at the break. And the winner that day was a next out winner. I may kick myself. I went back and forth about Resurge. And again, I usually don't jump off like this, so I may kick myself. So let me just start there because I left Resurge out. But number 2, endorse for Todd Pletcher. I thought the debut, same race as Resurge, but this one was third after having shown some punch. And again, next out winner won that day, stretches out to the mile and an eighth, which may help Resurge too. But Reality Star in the second spot. Shug Trainee off a couple of thirds, stretching out from the mile last time, and the 2 first starts were improving numbers, and then Lost Horizon in the third position for Chad Brown. Again, was also in that ragtime race, ran fourth in there, so we'll see if we can get some improvement out of what might be a little bit of a key race, given the next out winner in there. I have a 2, 3, 5, and 7, but again, you may want to go with the Seth off angle on Resurge. I'm a little bit leery there.
The Australian close hatches. I had this race, the 2, the 3, the 5, the 6 live. I'm very forgiving. That makes the 8 live at a big price in here. And with that, naturally, I went to the 1 because I think this race is deep. I have the first, a layoff and a good effort. I'm hoping it wasn't too good. It was June 4th. I'm hoping that's enough time to come back. I need some things to break my way, but I'm going to be a very big price, I believe, in this field. I'm down inside. I'm hoping to get a good trip with Jose Ortiz. Race is too deep for me to separate the others. Resurges by second pick. I'm basically throwing out the debut because of the stumble. Now, my fear, though, is this was a Judgmont, horse that wasn't really bet too much.
That's what kind of what made it, with the breeding and the connections. 6 to 1.
Right. But in the hands of Bill Mott. But if Resurge had been bet down to this morning line price, I'd be like, oh, okay. And things went bad. So,
but maybe with the trouble trip and stretching out, this will be one where maybe look at a tote board. If this horse takes some action today, they may be saying, we want the longer trip.
Yep. And then endorse. Got beat at odds on already, 162.
8th race this afternoon, right up here at Saratoga, is the second division of the De La Rose. They will go a mile on the grass for the fillies and mares.
I think De La Rose, she went out to late season, win the Hollywood Derby, and get a championship. I think she was a rare 3-year-old American to win the Philly Turf Championship. I think so. 8-1-4 for me. The 8 is on the outside of the turf racing. Spinning colors for Mark Henning, who's 3 for 4 up here. 1 start since the first week of spring. Won the Mount Vernon, the New York bred. John Velasquez gets the trip. We have early speed. We're going to have to get over in the hands of John Velasquez. I'll take my chances at a double-digit odds. For second, the other side of the starting gate, Steve Bix, the Paulo play of the day, Ozara, going out for Miguel Clement. Good effort most recently. That was over at Monmouth in the Eatontown. And then moving on up, who's 6-5 in here. I think this is a very competitive race. Draws a good post position. Running style, you would think, is going to get the opportunity. He should sit a good trip. He's got, breaks inside, get over, sit, you get out. 8-1-4 in the second division of the De La Rose.
4, 1, 7, and 3 for me, but I do think the 8 is very dangerous. I debated about pulling that one into the mix, but I went with moving on up on top. Ken Ramsey, Safi Joseph, a couple of tries down at Churchill in some stakes company. They were okay. 2 starts right before that down at Gulfstream, including a stake, were nice wins. I think this horse is very dangerous with Irod Ortiz hopping on board. Ozara, nice win, 2 back in a stake at Gulfstream, came up to Monmouth and ran 3rd last time, but the number was right there. And so I think this one's dangerous. Dylan Davis jumps on board today. And then Charlotte's Approval, the runner for Live Oak Plantation. Of course, the head of the Live Oak Plantation group is Charlotte Weber. And so when you name one after the head of things, you would expect good efforts. And this one may be a little iffy overall with 3 wins and 8 starts, but once getting to the turf, 3 wins and 5 starts, a second and a third, and I think we'll run it well again today for Mark Cassie. And the 8th, 4-1, 7-3.
9th race on the card, 3-year-olds and up.
Wait, we go the 9th, or we going to break?
We're going to go break. It's like 6-8 on this card. 10 race card.
So we will take another break,
yes.
And when we come back, we'll wrap it up for a Thursday opener. Stay tuned.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 103-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 103 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Coming here from Clare Court. We just had the Armada a couple minutes ago from Mr. Bond.
It's already been like 3 times,
Yeah,
and they're all morning long.
You know, this is like the Spanish Armada every day throughout the meet.
If you come up here sometime, it's worth maybe taking a drive down the street and seeing his barn. You know, most of the barns are here on the track, obviously, but Jim Bond has one that's kind of down the street from the Horseshoe. It's a nice little
it's in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know,
and so they're driving up the street, and the guards at the gate, when they come through, they stop traffic, and the Armada goes through, the horses and the 2 or 3 carts and the dog, and it's part of the show.
And he has the tricked out like SUV cart. I think he can take basically the grandstand to their seats in a couple of trips. On to the 9th race, 6 furlong stutter allowance, 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares.
5, 6, 8, and 3. Our Liberty Bell on top. I like the cutback. Last 3 races were at a mile. Goes 6 today, and the last 2 races were pretty good. Chris Elliott on board. So again, we'll see. I have the Apprentice on top in a couple of races this afternoon. But I always like a cutback to begin with, and this one, as I say, coming off of 3 straight mile races, that the last 2 at least were pretty good, improving numbers. I think the cutback is going to be beneficial, and this one is primed for a nice effort today. Despo's Dream in the 2nd spot. Nice positional early speed. Good win, 2 back in a 30 conditional claimer. Last time went into allowance, non-winner, so 1 other than. Ran 2nd. Now with this starter allowance, I think is going to be a very square fit in with this bunch. Flavian Prat sticks. And then Spring Magic, the Rudy runner at 10-1. I'll be interested to see if that price holds. If so, I will definitely throw this horse in the mix in some fashion, because again, it's another with improving numbers over the past 3 starts. So just seems to be rounding into some decent form. and I think is live in here. Again, at potentially a good price if the morning line holds up. 5, 6, 8, and 3.
I'm 6, 4, 7 here. I have to tell you something. I hope 9-2 is the betting price. I find that very attractive. You go back 2 races back, won a conditioned allowance, but with a poor start, ran very well in opening 1X, and now finds the starter allowance race in here. I'm just wondering with these connections, if 9-2, his buyer speed figure set puts him right there, behind your top pick. So I think we're the second most apt to win the race, and 4.5 to 1 is good in that position, I believe. Short Shift gets my second pick in here. Brad Cox's runner shows good early speed. Ran up here in the Belmont meet in the State Bred 2X, and then Problematica for Linda Rice, owner trainer, $20,000 claim. Already won for her. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. 6, 4, 7 for me.
Yeah, claim down at Churchill, which has become a thing for her, and she's now running some of those horses down there as well. The last couple of seasons, she's claimed some at Keeneland and at Churchill, but claimed at Churchill 2 back and won at Churchill.
Now, your top pick, it's not because it's, but do you remember Liberty Bell Racetrack?
Vaguely, yeah.
Which was like a night, Philadelphia, obviously. Yeah. I never saw it. I mean, I just remember it, being in our thing. And it's Keystone is Parks with Philadelphia between, but Liberty Bell is just demolished. And I think it might have, don't quote me on this, but maybe a 5/8 track. I'm not positive.
I was going to say it was a harness track.
Might have also been a harness track.
Yeah.
They were thoroughbreds because I can remember, I'm talking like 74 to 76, just, when I was really starting to.
Yeah, it was interesting. Larry Comas tweeted out the other day. He was driving out to, obviously, Del Mar, and I think it was Arizona, maybe. He had a picture of a track he drove by and said, does anybody remember this? And a couple of people said, oh, yeah. And it was an old dog track.
And just for those out there with Del Mar, we'll be doing the play of the day. But more importantly is that for the first time since the first Reagan administration, Trevor Denman will not be calling the summer meet.
Oh, yeah. Larry Comas is out there this year.
40 years of the summer meet. I mean, Trevor had, scaled back Santa Anita, but I think it was like the first Reagan administration. He dipped his toes into the water at Del Mar, and that was the last. Larry's been doing the Bing Crosby meet in the autumn, but now Larry's going to be doing the summer meet, which, what did we decide, kicks off next week?
Oh, I don't know. And speaking of which, we should have mentioned it.
What else?
We got alerted by the control room at Colonial today. It's canceled their first 3, and we were kind of like, oh, what's. But on Thursdays, not every Thursday, but I think most Thursdays, they start the card at, I believe, 10:45, and the first 3 are steeplechase races. So I'm assuming they must have had some weather down there that sidelines the
I was taken aback when he said
races. Yeah, there you go.
Canceled. We'll start at race 4, 12:30.
Yeah, they'll start.
Which is when I would have picked it up anyways.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's fun. I like the steeplechase races.
Mapped out the early pick 3 with his steeplechase races.
No, I like the steeplechase races, and I'm sure the whole steeplechase community appreciates Colonial and what they've done the past couple of seasons.
Is that like the area where it's even bigger? Is
Probably.
That, in Mid-Atlantic, it's big, right?
10th race, 10th and final today at Saratoga. Scheduled to go off a little after 6:15. Conditional claimers, 7 furlongs, the trip.
3, 8, 10. I didn't have much of a feel for this race. Some of the viewers might be saying at the end of some days I didn't have a feel for any races, but 3, 8, 10 for me. I was going 7, 8. I'm adding blinkers. Number 3 is Blue Eyed Scott, who's scheduled to break for the number 2 post position. First off the claim for the Sharp Horatio de Paz, a $17,000 claim down at Aqueduct. For second, Rock Harbor. Got beat at 1-5, not with a nickel of me. Makes the second start since early April. And then Focus for Rudy on the outside with Luis Saez. 3, 8, 10 in the finale.
I'm 11, 7, 8, and 3. I'll put Bella Voce on top on the class move for Linda Rice. I mean, she's typically well meant up here. And again, with this class move, 3rd start of the season, turf to dirt, cutback and trip. There are things to say this horse has the potential to move forward nicely in here. At the morning line holds up a nice price. Best impression in the second spot, taking a notable class dip in the third start of the season. So also interesting on those kind of factors. And Rock Harbor, beat at 1-5, beaten at 1-5 in the latest, claimed out of that. The race 2 back was good enough, certainly. But again, a couple of claims in the last couple of starts, and claim for 32 back dropped to the 17.5, couldn't get it done at a short price for Linda Rice. Now a new trainer. We'll see how it plays out. But for me, in the 10th and final at Saratoga, 11-7, 8 and 3.
And I know the math is easy to figure out, but just conceptually, I was talking about nitrogen last weekend. The difference between 2-5 and getting to 1-5 in a mutual pool, that to me is like the Grand Canyon chasm. There's very few horses on across America on any day are 1-5. Forget 1-10. That's like, once a year. But 1-5, boy, that is, I would say, I don't know, it's a 2-5 shot probably once a week.
It's different now than it used to be. When they hammer a horse, they hammer a horse these days.
You had the buyer speed, the strength of the buyer speed figures on favorites in New York to me is quite strong.
Yeah.
Anything else before you go to round 2?
Well, I'll go over the promotions again. Coming up today, Clubhouse Racebook Play the Board contest. Go down and have a little extra fun. Grab a little lunch at Black Bear. I give thumbs up to their menu, so you can go down and enjoy racing in the Play the Board contest. Extra fun. Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Also today, another hour or so, we'll open up the Pick 3 bankroll for this coming Sunday. I'll be playing every other Sunday the bankroll. And as I say, last season we did okay. Hope to do the same this year for the team. If you're interested, starting today, and I believe it closes on Saturday, so you have a couple of days to fill out the entry form. Go to capitalotv.com, click on the promotions link, look for that graphic right there, and fill out the entry form. Again, the entries will open in maybe an hour or so. Tomorrow, Players Bankroll at the Clubhouse Racebook. Keep that in mind for a little extra fun. Saturday, Fan Appreciation Day at the Bridgeport branch. Food, vouchers, there's always a fun contest. So keep that in mind for Saturday if you're a patron out in that direction. Saturday is also the Bounty Bet Late Pick 5 up here at Saratoga. Play it with your Capital OTB account. That's all you have to do. If you play this with your Capital OTB account, you're in for a shot at the Bounty. And then there's also the King of the Hill contest on Saturday down at the Clubhouse Racebook. So plenty of fun and promotions and events all season long at Capital OTB.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up. He stays, I go. Enjoy your opening day 2025.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.